have become used to being my husband's voice. I'm a little deaf. He has a little softer voice. So we take it in turns to hold the fort. I have his notes, so I could give you briefly what he said. Can you hear me?
Yes.
He said first that AFROMET is the Association for the Return of Maqdala Treasures. It's been a society here that has given exhibitions and education about what he was talking about, which is all the things from Ethiopia that have ended up elsewhere. And he has given evidence to a committee of the House of Commons called the Culture, Media and Sports Committee, so that people there should know more about the hidden things of what happened largely when the Napier expedition came to Maqdala in 1868. The looting of Maqdala was unjustified, and it was even a sacrilege inasmuch as many of the manuscripts were taken from Medane Alam Church at Maqdala. I'm giving you brief notes of what he said. The British government has recognized that a large amount of loot had ended up in Britain and gradually returned things. As Richard said, like throwing a dog to a bone. Like throwing a bone to a dog. It took 15 elephants and 200 mules to bring the loot from Maqdala, just the loot. And at an auction of the loot collected from the soldiers in the fortress, there was a loot 3 days later, at which the loot was auctioned to the officers. And the loot comprised 2 gold crowns, 500 manuscripts, innumerable crosses, 1 royal shield, 2 royal tents, beautiful tents, there at the British Museum. Theodorus's imperial seal, some of his hair cut off his head, and the Queen's necklace, and a painting, Orator Rasul, which was taken to war before a battle for a long time by Ethiopian kings, the Crown of Thorns. The problem was not only with the British government. The Orator Rasul, Emperor Johannes asked for it back from Queen Victoria, but Richard Holmes, the representative of the British Museum, did not reveal that he had taken it, and Queen Victoria thought it had never come to England. But when it was found in his possession, it was not returned. No attempt was made to return it. Another instance was there was a wife of a collector. She was Lady Muse, and when she died, she bequeathed some manuscripts to Emperor Menelik. The Times said they were needed for scholarship in Britain. Her will was overturned in the courts, and those books remained. And in fact, I think it was Emperor Haile Selassie, wasn't it, Richard, who put it on his head when he saw it?
Ras McConnell.
Ras McConnell. When he was Ras McConnell and he saw these manuscripts, he was so, one of them, they're very big manuscripts, beautiful manuscripts, he put it on his head in honor. So, briefly, the loot acquired, I think you may have heard this because Richard's voice was coming up there, there are some pieces at the British Library, at the British Museum, at the Victoria and Albert Museum, at Cambridge University Library, at Bodleian Library in Oxford, at John Ryland's Library in Manchester, and 6 manuscripts, the best, were given to Queen Victoria and are at Windsor Castle. You've probably seen them directly. And the keepers there are not terribly keen that you should see them, but you can see them. They're beautiful 6 big volumes. They're sitting there in Windsor Castle, and it would be very nice to have them back. So there have been a few things that have come back. A cross. Somebody came here, a person from a village called Peckworth, and he saw a cross and he said, "That's funny, that cross is like a cross we have in our church." And it was an Ethiopian cross, and he gave it back. It came back. Richard brought it back. Some shields, some spears have come back. And we mustn't forget, the main thing that came back, not from Britain, but from Italy, was the obelisk in Aksum. And there's still loot in Italy. There are archives belonging to the Ethiopian National Archives. And there's an aeroplane that was put together in Ethiopia. It's a high aeroplane. I think that's it. I just want to add that, as you can see, and as he said, there's an awful lot still to be done. There's a lot of material that still needs to come back, and we have to work for it.
Thank you.
Before we go on to Steve Delamarter, I forgot to say, Professor Adras was supposed to be here today, but he had an urgent meeting that he had to attend, so he apologizes for that. Many of the repatriated items that have been coming to the IES this year. This one is a special case. This one is a Menelik Psalter. It was, like I said earlier,